midday in Sweden, and this is the best and the lightest it's going to get. Alright, let's just kick this video off, shall we? So, hi guys, my name is Lily. I'm an anxious girl who loves to read. If you're new here, that was the wrong way around. Let's do it again. Hi guys, if you're new here, no wait. Hello my loves, if you're new here, my name is Lily. I am an anxious girl who loves to read, and if you're not new here, then welcome back. Thank you for coming back. So, in this video, this is a really exciting video, a video that I have been loving when others do. Did that make sense? That was the wrong, sentence structure. This is the video that I have seen a lot of other booktubers do, and I love when they do them, and I always eat those videos up. So I thought that I would do a video like that myself. Now, I don't have enough clout to write to booktokers and booktubers that I follow and love, and get a, personal rec back, kind of. So, instead, I have picked out videos that have come up from people that I follow, like recommendations videos posted by people that I follow, and I have now taken those recommendations to heart, and I will be reading those recs. So I have picked out little more than a handful that I will be reading throughout this video, and then kind of reviewing, if that makes sense. So this is book recs by Booktokers. Does that make sense? Book recs by Booktokers. That makes sense, right? Yeah. So we are kicking things off with Amid Clouds and Bones, and I am actually going to admit that I finished reading it last night, which is a clip that you're going to see after this clip, because it was dark when I decided to do this video, and I didn't have anything to read, so I started reading that. So this isn't in chronological order, but you'll be seeing this before you'll be seeing that. So let's jump straight into it, and you guys can enjoy watching me read Amid Clouds and Bones. If this isn't the clumsiest, most adorable king I have ever, just listen to this. I have to read this passage for you. He studied me, my heaving chest and undoubtedly wild eyes, and his features twisted. How am I supposed to win your heart if I cannot touch you? I don't know, by charming and courting her? I don't know, and I didn't particularly care. But not like that, I can assure you. You enjoy kissing though, he stated. Sex. After a shake of his head, he gave me a strange and almost worried look. Do you not? Withholding a shocked laugh, I nearly spilled the tea. I sipped it. You're not off to a great start with this heart-stealing thing. His forehead creased. You speak as if you do not want me to even try to steal it. Hello, you met this woman 10 minutes ago. You already tried to kiss her, and when she tells you that's not the way to go about it, you're like, why are you acting like you don't want me to steal your heart? Why would she act like she would, I don't know, that banter and that interaction just, ugh. I'm sold. I love this. This is the way to my heart. Just, I don't know, I don't even have words. Just this banter is absolutely amazing, and I want more of it. No, because they've never met before, but he still knew what her favourite tea was. And as he was trying to pour peppermint tea, the handle of the teapot was too small for his hand, and so he cursed as he fumbled it and almost dropped it. And she was like, I can do it. And he said no. And then he grabs the steaming hot teapot with his hand, bare hand, just to pour her a cup of tea, and burns himself. Ugh. My heart. My allegiance has shifted. He is already so much better. I'm in love with Bane, and we've known him for not even a chapter, so he's been in the book for 2 pages, and he has my heart. He's my new book boyfriend. I've added him to my roster. I love him already. Like, I want someone to burn their hand pouring tea for me. Like, come on. No man would do that. Only a fairy. Alright guys, so I finished the first book of this video, Amid Clouds and Bones, and I have some thoughts. Actually, as I was reading, because I didn't film that much because I read in less than 24 hours, I actually wrote down some notes. That looks like a lot, but it's not. So, the way that the author described Atakan the Heartless with like primal energy, I was obsessed with that, and she actually had me like really rooting for him and hooked, even though he was a big arsehole. So, you know, if you read this book, be prepared for like kind of a bully romance, because it's not like love at first sight. It's not even like a sweet romance. It's dirty and dark and obsessive, and I loved it. No, wait, I said the wrong guy. It's actually true about Atakan too though, but it's the other guy that she described as having primal energy, which I was like, when he showed up, I was like, oh, look what we have here. She described him, this second guy, Vane Ashbone, as having muscles and wings, and you know, I was sold. I'm very easy to convince to, you know, root for one guy, so I definitely fell for that description. He also has shadow powers, which was giving reason, but we love a shadow daddy. And I actually wrote down, it's giving Tamlin and reason, but kind of more like a bad Lucian versus Asriel as king, which I will still stand by. However, this book had a lot of twists and turns that I did not see coming, because I was expecting it to be kind of the traditional first and second love interest, you know? That was not this. I am very pleased at the way it played out. I really loved the romance and the love story in this. The plot wasn't like as developed as it could be. It was entertaining, it was good enough, but like the climax of the whole plot was kind of... it was a bit meh. It felt kind of flat. It was the romance and the relationships that had me hooked. With that said, I would have wanted the relationship with the second guy to be a bit more developed, because then it would have hooked me a bit more, which would have made like the second half of the book more like, you know, I was still like, but then I was kind of like, I don't really care. I don't really mind, because I wasn't that like hooked, does that make sense, without like, because I don't want to spoil too much, so without telling too much, I hope that makes sense. Let's see what else. Oh, why pick a prince when you can fuck a king? Good question. Very good question. Girl, I'd already have jumped him. Yeah, that's true. He offered her a library and whatever else she could have ever wanted, and I would have jumped his buns. If you desire books, I will show you the library. What else do you desire? Dude, keep me locked in here however long you please. Those were my feelings, considering Vane Ashbone. And he gave her a magical creature. So I was actually kind of sold on Vane. My allegiance is still unclear. Like, she did that quite well, because I like both Atakan and Vane, but in two very different ways, because they're two very different guys. Right, there's this quote that I wanted to lift for you guys, which is just one sentence that just says, and this is to convince you to read this book with this one sentence, and if I don't, then this book is not for you. But so I know which parts of him to mutilate first. We love a violent guy. We love correction. We love a guy who will kill for you, who will mutilate someone who's touched you. That was basically it. That was my recap of reading Amid Clouds and Bones. It was good. It was very good. I'm going to end up... I wavered there for a bit when the like climax of the plot wasn't as satisfying as I wanted it to be. So I wavered and kind of went down to a 3.5, but then the ending was really good and there was another twist kind of at the end. The explanation for everything came as a twist, which I really liked, and that had me really hooked. So I'm settling at a 4-star. I'm giving this 4 stars. I am very happy that I read this book. I liked it a lot, and it was a standalone, which I didn't know before I read it. And I don't often read standalones, especially not fantasies, like standalone romances, absolutely, but there aren't as many standalone fantasy books on my shelf, and it was kind of satisfying to not have to go into another book, because with some series that are like duologies or trilogies or even longer than trilogies, it's like unnecessary. I'm actually gonna do my face while I talk about this, but you know how some fantasy books don't have to be like a trilogy, it could have been a duology, and some duologies could have been standalones, and I actually like that this was a standalone, because a second book would just have, ruined the vibe. If you want a good, like, as I said, like dark, desirable, tortured fantasy romance or romantasy, however you define that genre, Amid Clouds and Bones is definitely for you. Like, the romance was good. It was dark, it was twisted, but sometimes that's what you want. Don't threaten me with a good time. I'm back. I hope you enjoyed watching me read Amid Clouds and Bones. Amid Clouds and Bones was recommended to me by the lovely Danny. Oh, Jesus. Amid Clouds and Bones was recommended to me by the lovely Danny. I will be tagging every single booktoker down below, or at least writing their handle, because I haven't figured out yet how to link in the description. Either I will figure that out, or I will just write their handles down below and you can look them up yourselves, because you're capable of doing that. So, Amid Clouds and Bones was recommended to me by Danny. I really enjoyed it. Like I said last night, which for you was like a minute ago, I gave it 4 stars. It was really, really good. The next book that we're going to jump into is a fantasy book, and that is, I am finally going to be reading A City of Gods and Monsters. Not just City of Gods and Monsters, which I will be reading on my Kindle, as you can tell, because you're not stupid. Another fantasy trilogy, and I have seen this from multiple creators on my BookTok, but it has mainly been recommended to me by Mariana. And I don't know if it was Mariana or someone else, but someone said that they liked City of Gods and Monsters more than Crescent City, or as much. And the Crescent City trilogy is one of my favorite series ever. The first book is one of my favorite books ever. So my hopes became dangerously high. I am really, really excited for this one, and I will be starting it today. So let's jump right in. Okay, so I'm like just 18 pages in. I just started City of Gods and Monsters, and I immediately understand the Crescent City correction. The Crescent City connection, because we have 2 sisters who aren't sisters by blood, and we have witches and werewolves, demons, I think, angels, it seems like, a bunch of different beings, but in a modern world, because she described one of the guys as having one of those, like, what's it called? Like one of those sports jackets that college people wear, or like, you get what I mean. So this does seem like a fantasy world in a modern setting. Now I don't know much about it because, as I said, I'm only 18 pages in, but the first sentence really did have me hooked. So I am going to be throwing another prediction out there. 5-star prediction. City of Gods and Monsters is going to be a 5-star. That's my vibe, that's my feeling. From just like the first sentence of the book, I was like, 5-star possibility. So we'll see how this progresses, but it might just be a 5-star. Curiouser and curiouser. They call him the Slayer, which is giving Umbra Mortis, and it shouldn't be hot, but it is. And he also ripped out a demon's throat with one hand, which made my heart quiver. So there's that. That's my update. I'm gonna continue reading for a bit, and then I'm going to go to bed. This angle was really, really nice. Little update. I'm about like 37% into City of Gods and Monsters, and it is so good. I stand by my 5-star prediction to 100%. My mother's walking around, so it's her that you're hearing, because I have arrived at my mother's today, so I had a lot of time to read on the train, which was very, very nice. And as usual, I made some notes. So my first note is, ugh, we love a man with authority who'll threaten his friends for her. That was adorable. And he can cook, and he's a man who knows how to apologize when he is in the wrong. And we love that for our main character. And I gasped because he watches chick flicks with her and he says please. Why have I never heard about this book boyfriend before? Why have I never heard about Darien Castle before this day? Like, what? Where have I been? Where has this man been all my life? And I wrote, who is this man? And then I corrected myself saying, well, devil, because he's kind of a devil, which we love. And I also love the micro trope where the male most often can sense like a change in her heartbeat or her scent or her aura, or, you know, one of those things, so that he knows like every single feeling that's going on, even if she like tries to hide it. And I love that micro trope, and we have a lot of that in here, which is just amazing. And they have familiars. I got so happy when he called forth a familiar, and then like all of his devil friends did as well, and I was like, is she going to get familiar? I hope she will. I know she's human, but something isn't right here. And I love, like, I definitely get the comparison to Crescent City, but they are different enough that, like, you can see why someone would make a comparison, because some things are, like, similar, but the storyline and the characters and the plot is very different. And the world in and of itself is very different, but there are a few similarities. And I love Crescent City, so I love this. There was something else that I was thinking of. What was it? Right, I love the whole, like, when they're in a fantasy setting, but they still need to solve a mystery and then, like, have to work together and become allies to solve said mystery. So it's the same in Crescent City with Bryce and Hunt. They are forced to work together. Here they are willingly choosing to work together, but I love that kind of forced proximity because of a mystery that needs to be solved. I have not figured it out, I don't think. This plot is very good because I have no idea what's going on. Like, I understand everything, but I have no idea why the things that are happening. I cannot figure this out before the characters do. And we love that because we love when twist and turns surprises, and that when they aren't, like, too obvious. But I'm pretty sure that when I'm done with this, if I were to go back and reread it, I would find moments of foreshadowing that I am missing right now. But when you have all the information, you can kind of catch those things. So it's very, very well done. And I'm pointing because the book is right here. You're like, what the hell is she pointing at? I'm pointing at the book because I'm cozied up on the couch, on my mum's couch, reading with some snacks and a drink, and I'm having a great time. I finished City of Gods and Monsters last night. I know I said 5-star prediction. I was wrong, like I often am, sadly. I really, really like the first 40%, and then between like 40% and 70%, there was like a bit of a lull. Like, I was still entertained and interested in what was going to happen, but I wasn't like chomping at a bit to keep reading and pick the book up. I think it was like 600, 700 pages too, and it felt like a lot of that during that lull was a bit like just to draw it out. Like, I didn't feel like it was giving me that much, which is why I was at parts like maybe skimming a little bit, and I found my mind like being easily distracted, and that I had to like reread certain parts. If you can hear the shower turning on, it's my mother. I'm at her place. Last night I felt like it could be a 4.5 as I finished it, but now that I've slept on it and like it's sat with me for a bit, I am going to be giving it a 4-star. But it is a really, really good fantasy book. I am going to give it that. The reason why it hopped down from a 4.5 to a 4-star is simply because I'm not, like, I don't feel like I need to read the next book. I don't, you know, with those, like, when you start a series and you're like, I have to have the next book, I have to have it, I can't wait. I want that feeling for a 5-star read most of the time, but I didn't get that here, and I might pick up the next book, but I would be fine if I didn't. I probably will, but it's not that high up on like what I want to read. I'm not chomping at the bit to read it enough to like skip other books. So I'm prioritizing other books before continuing the series. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. But thank you, Mariana, for that recommendation. Keep posting your amazing things. All of these Booktokers are amazing, and as I've probably said, I will be writing their handles down below. I highly recommend you checking them out because they give great recommendations, as we're showing here, because I've had I've had 2 4-star reads. using my little book light as like my lighting. I'm such a professional. I've just come back from Gothenburg. If you want to check out that book shopping video, it will be coming. I don't know which video will be coming first, but you know, if it isn't up yet, it's gonna be. I started For the Fans today, really. And whilst I was in Gothenburg, between book shopping and when I was eating lunch, and then when I got back, I had to wait for my mum to come home because we only have one key. So I had to sit in a cafe and wait until she got back because she was away. And so I had a lot of time to kill. And I'm 300 pages into this, more than 300 pages into this, which means that I'm 50% in, and I am eating this up. I am gobbling this down, just like Avi and Kieran are gobbling each other. Because you know what? I love this, but maybe not the best book to read in public. You can always trust Larry to recommend amazing books, and this is still true, and she's probably warned about this, but I obviously didn't listen because I've read half of this book in public. And as someone who has quite a good poker face when it comes to spicy scenes, this had me like shifting in my seat and being like, I pray to God that no one can see my Kindle screen right now, because if anyone reads the words on this page, but it's so good. Not to read in public though, because there's a lot of spice, but there's a depth to it as well, and the way that the relationship between these characters is evolving, and the like depths that both these characters have my heart like stressing out. Like my heart was beating so fast during some parts of this, and not the sexy parts. I recognize myself a lot in Avi, like certain parts of him and certain ways that he is feeling when he's like out in public amongst groups of people that aren't necessarily his, like the kind of people that he vibes with, and the way he like feels invisible, and like the kind of light bullying that is going on as well is like, I was tearing up at the cafe because that just hit home. I'm really enjoying this, but you know, beware, not the best book to read in public or when you're staying with your mum, which I am. But I will be continuing this, and I will continue reading this tonight because I can't stop. So I might finish it tonight. I'm definitely finishing it by tomorrow. I love it. It is so good. Thank you, Larry. Reporting back to you from my mother's couch, looking like a mess, but that is alright because I just finished For the Fans. And this was a roller coaster. I haven't really gathered my thoughts because I finished it like 10 minutes ago, so there's a lot going on inside this head, but I really enjoyed it. That much I know. It was a great time. It was fun, it was hot, it was heavy, it was deep, it was heartbreaking. It had everything. I laughed out loud at so many points in this book, and I even shed a few tears because, Jesus Christ, that hit a bit too close to my personal trauma, let's just say. But the way that character who went through those things like worded the feeling of someone doing that to you, it hit close. Like, it hit way too close. It was difficult to read through that part because I couldn't really see through my tears. I've been wavering a bit between a 5 star and a 4.5 star. The only reason that it would drop to a 4.5 star is that it was really long, and for a romance book, even though I enjoyed a lot of it, some parts then felt a little bit repetitive because it was drawn out. And it's just like, not in the things that happened or anything, but in the way that it was narrated, like the way that these two guys thought about their relationship at certain like points throughout the story was like towards the end it became repetitive because they've already thought that or said that, or you know, gone through that, and then we're just reiterating it like twice or 3 times more, which is why I find myself kind of towards the end, when we're like over 700 pages in, where I was just feeling like, oh, I'm still just at 94%. How much longer are we gonna go? How is this supposed to keep me entertained for much longer? Because we're done. Like, we've gotten to the climax has happened, the resolution has happened. Where is this gonna go now? For that reason alone, I will, like, if I gave, I would want to say that it's like a 4.75, but I don't really do those. I only do halves, you know? So in my heart, it's a 4.75, but in my reading journal, I'm going to have to put it down as a 4.5. But it's really, really good. And it's really, really emotional, more so than you think. Like, you think that this would be just like a fun, sexy, spicy read, but it was so, like, it has such a weight to it in a way that I wasn't expecting, because it came, like, they built to that, so that came more towards the end. So the beginning was really just like fun and spicy and sexy and fun. I said that twice, but it was really fun. And then, you know, you kind of got little hints of, oh, there's something else going on that we don't yet know about. And then that bomb was dropped, because we kind of flew up towards that, where we then, that height that we could drop that bomb from, so that it could do the most damage. And it did. It was really, really good. So, you know, just beware of that going into this if you're going to pick this book up, which I highly recommend that you do. But read trigger warnings. I did not do my research, but it was, I mean, it was okay, it was fine. I love this author's writing style, Nyla Kay. I haven't written a book from her before, so she is definitely a new author for me. I really, really enjoyed it. I will absolutely pick up more books by this author. It was fast-paced, funny, quick-witted. She wrote those like deep parts really, really well. The relationship between these two characters and them as individuals, and their personal like traumas and things that they were going through, and flaws and wounds and all of that, was really, really good. And I really, really enjoyed it. So ending up at a 4.5. We have not yet had a 5-star in this video. I'm wondering when that will be. And depending on how long this video is gonna get, I might have to split it into part 1 and part 2, but we will see, because I think we have 3 more books to get through. I think it's 6 in total, and this is my 3rd. Tonight I will be starting the next one, which will be a fantasy, because this was my little romance palette, which I wasn't expecting this to be 700 pages. I don't know if it is in physical form 700 pages, but on my Kindle it said that it was over 700 pages when I was done. So take that with a pinch of salt. I haven't checked how much pages a physical copy is, but you know, I also redid my my Kindle cover, so that it wasn't as much of a romance palette as I thought, because I was expecting this to be like 350 pages, 400 max. I was very wrong. It was a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. Pun intended. You know, all of the books that I read so far have been kind of thick books for this video, which maybe wasn't that well thought out, but I just, it's not my fault. It's the Booktokers' fault for recommending me long books. They didn't personally recommend me these, but for, you know, those were the books that, you know, they recommended, that I was like, oh, I'm gonna add that to my TBR because of their recommendation. So that's why I'm doing this video, if that wasn't clear already. But let's go fetch the next book, which I actually bought a physical copy of while I was in Gothenburg. I do have it on my Kindle, but I couldn't resist getting the physical copy, so let's go fetch that.